because I always like to come and address issues that I know are coming up a lot, right? I see the comments, I see the emails that people send me, and the private messages, and all the messages that I get, all the feedback that I get. And when I'm hearing themes, I like to come and try and answer them for you, right? So that I can help you guys out and give you some information. I just want to make sure that we're going live here. I think we're good. Okay, good. Awesome. Okay, so today I want to talk about this whole feeling of taking one step forward and three steps back, right? I call this the self-sabotage cha-cha, right? Where you do really well all day and then sabotage yourself at night, right? Or you make one good choice in the morning and then ruin it all at lunch, right? It's like this constant one step forward, three steps back, one step forward, three steps back. And it's so frustrating because you feel like you're making progress and you're so proud of yourself. And then before you know it, you're right back in your old habits and patterns. And when you do this long enough, you start to get this sense, this worry that, like, what if I can never break out of this pattern? What if no matter what I try, no matter what diet or what approach or what program or anything, what if I can never stop sabotaging myself, right? Even if I make progress, even if I lose the weight, even if I improve my health, what if I just keep ending up going back? Because that's what we see ourselves doing over and over again, right? And it's frustrating and it makes you feel stuck and hopeless and all of those things. And so I wanted to come and talk to you a little bit about why that happens, and also give you some ideas about tools, practices you can use to really start finally changing those old habits instead of just, I call it white knuckling. If any of you were on the webinar I hosted this week, talked a lot about white knuckling, and that's what the term I use for when you're trying to kind of make better choices trying to go against your old habits and patterns, like just don't do it this time, but then you end up going right back, right? So obviously, you know me, I'm going to be talking to you about the brain because that's what's actually deciding all of the food choices you're making, right? It's not your stomach. It's not your taste buds. It's all happening up here, right? Every choice you make about food, every choice you make about what you put in your body is coming from your brain, right? It's not your stomach. Again, not your taste buds, not your sense of smell of those chocolate chip cookies. It's all what's going on up here. Every decision you make about what you eat is happening in your brain. So let's talk about what's really going on up there. When you repeat anything, whether it's eating when you're stressed or eating at nighttime or how you brush your teeth or how you tie your shoes, when you repeat anything enough times, your brain creates neural pathways around that behavior. It's the way your brain learns and automates any kind of repeated behavior, right? Otherwise, you would have to think about how to do that every day. You'd have to think about, how do I brush my teeth again? And how does this work? Or, how do I walk? How do I put my one foot in front of the other? Like, it's great that your brain does this. Thank goodness for neural pathways, because that's how your brain, whenever you repeat anything, your brain figures, okay, we obviously need to do this again and again, so let's just automate it, right? So let's create a neural pathway around it. It's literally like an actual physical neural pathway in your brain around that behavior. So now you can brush your teeth without thinking about it. You can walk down the street without thinking about it, right? Unfortunately, and again, great for those kinds of things. Not so helpful when it comes to neural pathways around food habits. So this is why when you feel stressed or anxious, you just feel like you need a Mars bar or a cookie, right? Or some potato chips. Or when nighttime comes and you're on the couch and you've got the Real Housewives on or The Voice, and you just feel like you need a little something, right? That is neural pathways at work. It's just a behavior that you repeated enough that it just feels automatic. And to do anything different feels uncomfortable. Just like now, brushing your teeth with the non-dominant hand would feel uncomfortable, or walking backwards down the street would feel uncomfortable because you don't have neural pathways around that, right? So that's what's happening. And when we try to just violate our neural pathways, just go against them, just do something different, just don't eat at night, or just don't eat when we're stressed, it's almost impossible. Because again, you have those deeply grooved neural pathways in your brain, and your brain is very strong. It knows exactly what it's doing. It's driving the bus, and it is going to keep bringing you back to those old behaviors because those behaviors are familiar for your brain, and your brain always equates familiar with safe. Okay. So this is a battle we are always going to lose. And it's a battle that you probably are losing right now. Hence the 1 step forward, 2 steps back, the making good choices for a little while and then going back to old ways, right? That's what this looks like when you're trying to violate neural pathways. You're trying to just go against them. You're white knuckling. Doesn't work because you're going against the way your brain is naturally wired. I talked about that a lot on the webinar last week. So this is not a good strategy. It is not a strategy that is ever going to end well for you, okay? Instead, we have to start coming at this from a different perspective. We have to start working with the way our brain is naturally wired. You're never going to change the way your brain actually works unless you're going to have like a lobotomy or something. That's never going to happen. You're using the same sort of brain hardware that humans have been using for hundreds of thousands of years, and you're not going to change it in the next 6 months. So instead of fighting it, let's work with the way it is naturally wired, okay? And what that means is that we have to start looking at how we can break down slowly old neural pathways, get rid of them, sweep them away, and start forging new ones, okay? And one of the ways you do that is just by repeating healthier behaviors over and over, but that's sort of easier said than done, right? We know obviously that if we repeat a new behavior many, many times, we'll probably get better at it. It will become a habit, but easier said than done, right? How do we initially make those first changes? So what I use in my Change Your Brain, Change Your Body program, which many of you know is open for enrollment right now, and that's where I teach all of this stuff in detail. This is really where, over the course of 12 weeks, 6 modules, all the worksheets, all the bonuses, all the behind the scenes support, community, daily prompts, all the stuff we give you in that program is really designed to help you do this kind of work, to help you reprogram what's going on up here, to help you change the operating system that's really driving your food choices, okay? Because that's really what we need to do. So we use tactics, techniques, tools like meditation, right? You may have tried meditating in the past. You may sort of roll your eyes when I talk about meditating. Maybe you're an experienced meditator. Wherever you are on that spectrum, what I can tell you is that meditation is an incredibly powerful tool for reprogramming old neural pathways. Okay, there's so much science behind this. This isn't just me talking about this. This isn't just Oprah and Deepak and their, meditation series. There's so much MRI-based research around how meditation can help you change the wiring of your brain. So again, in the CYB program, we do a lot on meditation. And there's even a bonus right now, if you jump in the next few days, where you're actually going to get a whole masterclass about meditation. There's also a technique that we use a lot in the CYB program, which is visualization, right? Again, you might have heard of visualization. We know a lot of, we hear about Academy Award actors and Fortune 500 CEOs and Olympic athletes using visualization as a way to help them reach their goals. And you can do exactly the same thing. It is a technique that is so powerful, so accessible to all of us. Takes a little work, takes a little understanding of how visualization works. And for some people, it's easier than others, but that's okay. We do a whole module on visualization in the CYB program. And there's so many resources to help you get there. I even include guided meditation and visualization, which is a recorded visualization that I created specifically around weight loss and changing your relationship with food. So visualization is another tool that we know helps you reprogram old neural pathways. So powerful. It might be the most powerful tool for changing those old neural pathways. Again, I won't go into all the sort of brain science about why visualization is so key in terms of neural pathways, but it really has to do with the fact that your brain is very easily tricked into believing that what you're just imagining is actually happening, right? This is what's happening like when you're watching a scary movie, and even though you're in your safe living room or the safety of the movie theater, you have a full physiological reaction as if it was happening, right? Your heart's racing, blood pressure goes up, pupils dilate, you might be sweating. We talk about being on the edge of your seat. That is all because of visualization, right? Your brain is very easily confused by things you just imagine and visualize. You're doing it with the help of a movie and music and lighting and costumes and makeup and all of that. But you can do the same thing in the privacy of your own home or wherever you want to do it, and harness that same power to help your body have a full physiological change, reaction, different attitude towards the food choices you're making. Okay. Again, we do a whole module on that in CYB because it's so important. And there's a ton of resources that you get to help you do that. But meditation and visualization are two of the most powerful techniques that we use. We also work on things in CYB like habit mapping, which is really understanding how a habit loop works. Every habit that you have, whether it's about food or brushing your teeth, has the same loop, right? Psychologists call this the habit loop. It's not my term, but that's what we're working with. So when we do habit mapping, it's when we map out the cue, routine, reward in a habit loop, and we figure out how to break each of those. And again, this is another way that we can start breaking up those old neural pathways in your brain so that you're not trying to just override, just violate old neural pathways. You're really creating new ones, all right? And then we use other techniques like evidence journal that really help you help your brain start to see the healthier choices as more of a reward, because that's when it's more malleable, more interested, more open to creating new neural pathways around those new healthier habits. Okay. So those are just some: meditation, visualization, habit mapping, evidence journal. These are just some of the techniques that we can use to not fight against those old neural pathways, but instead work with the way your brain is naturally wired, not something that most people are talking about, but potentially the biggest shift that is going to help you change all of this around. We use these tools to start breaking down old neural pathways and creating new ones. Okay, so now you're working with the way your brain is naturally wired instead of fighting it. So now you're not in this like David and Goliath battle anymore that you're always losing, doing the 1 step forward, 3 steps back. But now you're like slowly but surely, again, this isn't quick fix. This takes time. These are skills you have to learn and you have to practice them. But when you do that, you are slowly now making progressive progress. Is that redundant? Towards a goal. Okay. You're actually changing the way your brain is wired now. So now what's driving the bus is a very different brain than the brain you used to have, the old operating system, as I call it, right? You're really upgrading that operating system. So now different choices are becoming appealing. All right. Okay. I hope this was helpful. Again, if you're interested in this, if this message is like resonating with you and you're like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been missing, because that's certainly what I felt when I discovered all of this stuff. CYB, which is the program where I teach all of this, Change Your Brain, Change Your Body. CYB is open for enrollment now, but only for a few more days. And we have some bonuses that you're going to love. Again, including that masterclass on meditation, visualization, and journaling, 3 such powerful techniques. So I put the link above here or below or wherever you're watching this. Check it out. See if it's for you. If you have any questions at all about the program, don't hesitate to reach out. You can comment below. You can send me a message, send me an email. You can find me. I'm not hard to find. And we would love to have you in the program. I think you will find that these are very different tools. I take a very different approach than what you might be used to seeing in other places or certainly in other things that you've tried. Okay. This is not, I don't do diets. I don't do a meal plan. I don't do any of those things. My students like to joke that I'm the nutritionist who never talks about food. And in a way, it's true, because I don't think it's about the food. I think it's about what's going on up here, right? The food isn't driving your choices. All your choices, every single one, 100% of them are being driven by your brain. So that's where we need to focus. Okay? All right. Have a great day, guys, and I will talk to you soon.